Hey there and welcome back. If you missed my last video, let me give you a super quick recap of why I'm even here talking to you today. A few years ago, I may have looked healthy on the outside, but behind the scenes, my body was fighting a hidden war. Eventually, the scales tipped, I landed in hospital looking like this. Full body inflammation, gut and hormonal chaos, anxiety, fatigue mixed with hypervigilance, the worst itch that left me bleeding throughout the night. It was not pretty. And I remember feeling terrified because the conventional system only focused on symptom management. No one was asking the most important question of all: why was my body not healing on its own? What was at the root of it all? So I had to become my own health detective. I went back to the school books to study anatomy and physiology, became a double certified health coach, medicine yoga teacher, breathwork guide, speaker on these topics, and started piecing together the root causes that traditional healthcare often overlooks. The root of my imbalances and the root of those of most chronic imbalances and diseases today is chronic stress, and was chronic stress for me. If you don't see why that is at the root, or don't fully understand what chronic stress even means or what adds to your stress bucket, go back to watching my previous video where you can learn all about this. So here is my promise for you today. By the end of this video, you'll have a good idea of the 3 pillars that make up the foundation for my clients and my healing from chronic stress and all the health imbalances that entails. This isn't about quick fixes or focusing on just one area whilst disregarding the bigger picture. I learned that the only way of healing sustainably is by applying a holistic blueprint, one that takes your psychology, so your mental, emotional state, your physiology, so your physical body, and how regulated your nervous system is, all into account. And that's exactly what we'll dive into today. But before we go there is an important reminder that ties into all of the pillars that we'll cover. You can't heal in the same environment that got you sick. Let me repeat that. You can't heal in the same environment that got you sick in the first place. And sometimes that environment is your internal physical state. Things like blood sugar, gut health, immune function, all heavily shaped by how you live day to day, your lifestyle. And this is often where we start to make changes when we have some sort of health imbalance. But other times, and most often simultaneously, your internal state and your emotional environment also affects your well-being, and therefore also your journey to health again. Your self-talk, the pressure you put on yourself, the schedule you keep overbooking because you struggle to say no, or the stories you've learned throughout the years of what success should look like, etc. The list is long. And even if you've nailed both of these, the physical and mental health, your nervous system might still be perceiving threats from your environment, therefore keeping you in a state of survival rather than healing. So no matter how much broccoli you eat or how many affirmations you keep repeating, your body is kept on high alert and therefore not allocating resources for you to heal, recover, digest your food, balance your hormones, etc. And that is why these 3 pillars, mindset, nervous system, and physical health through your lifestyle, all seamlessly work together, and they're not separate pieces. They're the foundation for healing from any imbalances and health optimization. So let's dive into them. Pillar 1, mindset and identity shifts to make your changes stick. When I was healing from my imbalances, I knew that my mindset was important, but I didn't know how much it was sabotaging my healing until years into my journey. So here are 2 mindset shifts. There are many, but there are just 2 simple mindset shifts that have really helped my clients and me through dark times. First of all, identity work. So beginning to visualize who you actually want to become. Not just, I want to be symptom-free, but truly embodying what symptom-free means for you, how it feels in your body, how you'll be living when you're symptom-free. I began to see her, my most healed, energized, yet grounded and grateful self, going about my daily routine, living the reality as if it had already happened, although I was in my worst state. I started identifying as her, living my life as if I was already her, and telling stories as if I was already her. So not repeating the story that got me sick in the first place, but repeating the story of the woman I want to be. because eventually your body will believe that that is you. And I've since applied this to everything I want to achieve in life. Some call it manifestation, I call it neuroplasticity or brain rewiring at work. It may feel awkward at first, imagining and talking about something and writing and journaling about something far away from your current reality, but hear me out. Your brain is plastic. So like plastic, you can heat it up and then it changes shape. The same goes for your brain. What you feed it with, especially in a meditative state, it will believe to already be true. So the more you feed it with a visual image and embodiment, feeling like the person you want to be, the faster that will become your reality. This is neuroplasticity at work, rewiring your brain patterns to work for you, not against you. And I will speak much more about this in future episodes. But a second mindset shift that has really helped my clients and me is shifting out of constant survival mode in your head. I started becoming aware of my thought patterns, the perfectionism, the I'm behind, the constant shoulds and musts. And I had to and still have to practice reframing those thought loops I was telling myself that were keeping me in a survival state. So let's go through 3 examples. First of all, constant shoulds and musts. I should be doing more. I should be pushing harder, staying up later, etc. And I will reach my goals. And a reframe of this is rest is productive. It's the pit stop that lets me speed ahead when it really counts, so I will reach my goals faster. Another example is comparing your healing or yourself in general to others. An old loop could be like, why am I healing so slowly? I must be doing something wrong. Or why am I not gaining muscle so quickly? I must be doing something wrong. And a reframe of this could be, my body's timeline is unique. The goal isn't speed, it's sustainability. I'm going to be in this body forever, so let's make it sustainable. And a final example of a mental loop stuck in survival refers to feeling behind, where an old loop could be, I'm stuck, I'm not progressing, I want it to go faster. And a reframe could be, slow progress is still progress. Big wins come from small, repeated actions that pile up over time. So these reframes are examples of how you can practice mentally shifting your body out of survival mode throughout the day by reframing these little threats that your body keeps picking up on into instead positive affirmations about your progress and yourself. But this mental shift can at times be really difficult. And that's where nervous system regulation comes into play to show, not just tell your body that it's safe, secure, not in danger of any threats. So let's explore that pillar. Pillar 2, nervous system regulation. This is where the biggest blind spot was for me. I was doing the mindset work. I was eating well, working out, and trying to figure out my gut healing, etc. But I was still stuck in fight, flight, and sometimes freeze state. I didn't know how to actually signal safety to my body. And the thing is, the nervous system doesn't speak in words necessarily. It speaks in sensations. So here's what I learned to do. First of all, I learned to calm my nervous system through intentional breathing. The breath is honestly the key to your nervous system, and it's always free and always available to you. It really doesn't have to be so complicated or take very long. For instance, the physiological sigh has been shown to decrease your much faster and more effectively than traditional meditation by just doing it 5 minutes per day. And the physiological sigh is where you breathe in through your nose, filling your belly, and then when you reach the top, you take an extra tiny inhale, and then you exhale through your mouth. So very easy. Fully, extra inhale, exhale through your mouth, and make the exhale really long. They believe that that is where the magic is, the long exhale. So do that just 5 minutes per day. And if you don't have 5 minutes, which I doubt, but we all have those days, I can see in my Oura Ring app when I've been taking 3 physiological sighs every 30 minutes throughout my workday. The difference in my stress levels on those days, as opposed to the days where I don't do it, is incredible. Really, really cool. I have to show you some sort of screenshot of this. And another thing I did to teach my nervous system it was safe was I shifted from high intensity workouts to more calming movement. I still did strength training, but I try to keep my pulse low, no running, everything to still move my body, but without showing my body that it's being chased by something or someone. Because I eventually realized that my standard workouts were exerting too many stress hormones, even if they didn't feel that tough. So if you have a tiny inkling that you may be pushing yourself a little hard, even if it doesn't feel that tough, You'll be much better off with calming exercises like yoga, medicine yoga, walking, low impact Pilates, bar, strength training, but in a low impact state, not high intensity workouts. No berries. Okay. Avoid the running just for a while until your nervous system has calmed down again and can regulate itself. But again, intention matters here. What's your subconscious saying about your workouts? That they need to be tougher to be enough? That you need to sweat lots for them to count? This comes back to what we talked about earlier, and I will come back to in future videos in relation to the stories that we tell ourselves, which are putting us in a survival mode. Number 3, I also introduced somatic exercises for vagus nerve stimulation. Tapping, humming, VU sound, somatic exercises, all of which put you into the parasympathetic state as opposed to the sympathetic state, and which are all included in my membership Revive to Thrive. If you want more information on this, click the link in the pinned comment below to learn how Revive to Thrive is helping women go from merely surviving another day to truly thriving every day. Although there's so much more to be said on this point of nervous system regulation as well, I just want to finish off with one simple hack. I started taking micro pauses throughout the day. I stopped glorifying productivity at all costs and instead started seeing rest as productivity. As I learned that the brain builds up neurosynaptic snippets, so like unfinished to-dos and switching between tasks, etc. So waste products in your brain. And the only way to get rid of those is by taking breaks. So I started scheduling breaks the way I would with a meeting. And I have a gong sound that goes off every-ish 30 minutes to remind me to take 3 deep breaths, as I talked about earlier, giving my nervous system micro pauses throughout the day to return to the parasympathetic state. Okay, let's move on to pillar number 3. Lifestyle shifts to support your inner physical balance. These are the ones that most people know and where you start when you want to make some sort of health change. And it's evidently foundational, but honestly, without the pillars that I just talked about earlier, these don't have the same impact. And again, the difference is about doing this from a place of self-love, self-care, no punishment or pressure. It's really important mental shift. So this is what I shifted in terms of my lifestyle. Sleep. I treated it like a non-negotiable. Blackout curtains, wind down rituals, magnesium bisglycinate, there's science-backed tools and a whole checklist of things to improve your sleep in the Revive to Thrive membership. And exercise. I reduced the high-intensity exercise, as I said earlier, and brought in more restorative movement. It was mentally hard at first because it had to do with also an identity shift, considering that I used to compete at an elite level in alpine ski racing, but it made the biggest difference. And nutrition, I focused on nutrient-dense, anti-inflammatory foods to heal my gut. Although it felt restrictive at first, I've been able to heal my gut and therefore also increase the things that I can eat over time. And I always ensured that I got enough nutrients despite having to eat, let's say, low histamine. And I'm not by any means recommending a restrictive diet, quite the opposite. I just want you to get as much nutrients as possible. But to heal your gut, you may need to make certain changes to your diet for a while before you can eat more things. Really important here as well is blood sugar balance. This is a game changer for your energy, mood, your gut, and hormonal health, and so much more. And also supplements and herbs, things like adaptogens, hormone supporting blends, and gut healing, liver detoxing support. But again, this is a nice add-on. Get the foundations right first. Although most people start here, get the foundations with nervous system, mentality, and other lifestyle factors in first. And finally, also supporting your detox pathways. So lymph drainage, lymph massage, saunas, castor oil packs, but only whilst also doing the nervous system regulating work. I used to think that my skin breakouts were a cosmetic issue. It turns out they were a detox, but also stress issue. My liver and my gut and my nervous system needed support, not more serums. So let's recap. To heal from chronic stress and health imbalances in general in a holistic way, what I recommend my clients to do and what I did was address mindset and identity shifts, nervous system regulation, and lifestyle foundations. They all work together simultaneously, interchangeably, and affect each other, and without one, the others don't hold. I've seen this time and time again with my clients healing. And there's so much more to say on each of these, so stay tuned for future episodes, or if you're already now feeling called to go deeper, these 3 are all included as the pillars of my all-inclusive membership, Revive to Thrive, helping women navigate chronic stress and who are looking for a holistic, guided, and sustainable approach with self-learning, community, and coaching. If my story resonates and you're wondering what's really going on beneath my symptoms and beneath the surface, I want to go to the root of it all, then book a free one-to-one call below. No pressure, no fluff, just clarity. I'm here to help you thrive again. So let me know in the comments, which of these 3 pillars do you need to focus on more right now? Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm always rooting for you. Hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!